way that you can work with MySQL is you can use Python. The benefit of using Python is you can create the SQL from your data and you can get the data from somewhere else. For example, this one is the data that we familiar with. I use the 7timer.info, the weather data. We start with, of course, you have to import the MySQL connector. The way that you have to connect your Python to MySQL is you have to use the connector. And in the connector, you have to provide at least three things. That is the host or the URL or the IP address of the MySQL server. In this example, it is running on the local host. Next is the username and the password. So this is the parameters that you have to send to mysql.connector or .connect. So once you connect it, it will be the connector. So you can use MyDB, for example, variable to be the connector, and then set the cursor to mydb.cursor. And once you execute this one, this is the SQL statement, and then it will return the cursor. It won't return the whole thing, but it will return the cursor to each record. So you have to iterate through all of them, like the way that you did with loop. So for x in my cursor, put x in the list. So this one will be the result. Okay, so I'm sorry. I think I forgot to run this line. You have to install the MySQL connector first. Once you pip install it, now you can use it. Okay, so this is the result. So you can see that there are four tables. Four databases. And guys, here is the 7timers.info, and I put everything that we got from the URL into the data frames. The one that we have done before. I think you familiar with this. So this one is the DF. So we can see that in our data frames there are 64 lines, and this is the field name. Okay, I will store just only the time point, the precipitation amount, temp to M and RH to M. I will store it into our database. So at first we don't have the database yet, right? Because on our server there are just 4 databases. This one, there are 4 databases: information schema, MySQL, performance schema, and system. So we have to create a database. So I will create a database. So you can using the command line mysql -u, this one, username -p followed by password and -e and followed by the statement. So the statement is quite simple: create database if not exists weather db. So I created this one. Yep. So now we have the databases. You can show your databases using this statement. I create another one and then use this one, and again I will use show databases. Now we have weather db. Okay, and then or you can write this one, execute create db if not exist, and then connect it again. But this time, can you see the difference? In the first line, we use the just only host, username, password. This is the way that you connect the data and you create the database. And then once you have the database, this time you can connect to your database by providing the fourth parameters, the database name. And then use my cursor is mydb.cursor. Now you will have the cursor that working with your database. So now to be able to insert the data, you have to create a table. So you can create a table. If not exist, I use the prediction. Actually, it should be forecasting, but it's fine. The data that I will store will be the time point, that is integer, or RH2M integer, precipitation amount integer, and temp to M integer. So guys, what you have to do is you have to create a table that you must provide the type of the data. So that is, maybe you feel like, oh, it's not convenient because you like the way that you import the data directly from the data frames using MongoDB. That's the one reason if you want to use the MongoDB one. But this one is, of course, it works well with the data with the fixed structures. So my cursor dot execute, and then you can provide your SQL statement, this one. So now we have the table already, and then you can use this SQL insert into the followed by the table name prediction, and immediately followed by the field name and the values like this. And you can insert the values here using the list of the tuples or the tuples. But if you insert just only one record, you can use execute. It will insert into the data, and finally once you execute it, you just use the commit one. Or you can insert multiple records, but you have to use execute many. Okay, so the first one I'll show you using insert many. So we start with the values, and then you just create a list of these 4 values. And then this is the SQL, and then you have to provide the list of this one. So I will write this cell to show you here. Yep. So you can see that this is the list of the record that you want to insert. Okay, and then you provide these values to be the second parameters, and the first one must be your SQL insert into prediction, followed by the field name and values and %s for 4 of them, and don't forget to commit the change. So once you run it, it will tell you that 64 records inserted. Okay, so next I will use the one single SQL, but look at this. I will combine all values into this one. This one is the same thing, right? But the values, I use all records separated by comma. Until the last one, it must be ended by a semicolon. So this one is the SQL statement that I create using Python way. This is the benefit of using Python. So you can create all of them in a single SQL, and then you can run it, this one. Okay. I delete all data. This one I'll tell you later. I delete all data, all records from the prediction table here. And then now I show the data. Select star from prediction. And what you can see that is there's no data here. So I will execute the SQL that we got from this cell, this one. And then I run it. And then you see the result that 64 records inserted, and then show all of them. So you can see now we have the table predictions using the time point, RH to M, precipitation amount, and temp to M. Okay, this is the way that you can insert the data into table, and the way that you can create a database, create a table, and insert the data into your table.